Good evening, good evening, good evening. Tap in. I apologize for being late. I logged in at 8:20, but for some apparent reason, the system was acting up. Didn't allow me to, had to do something and close it up and reopen it. This message is not planned, was not planned before Juneteenth, nor after Juneteenth. I had a thought into my mind about Juneteenth, and I thought about Juneteenth 2.0. We need a spiritual Juneteenth. This is going to be a part one. Part two is tomorrow. I'm going to build a foundation as one build a house. Before you can build a house, you must have the land. You must remove all the stuff out of the way, love it, measure it, do what it takes, get the permit and all that kind of stuff. And then you lay the foundation, then you lay the walls, the building, the bricks or whatever. So I'm going to be coming from that position, laying out some historical facts and foundation to support where I'm coming from. It's not about condemnation or judging. It's a very interesting take that I have not heard. I'm not saying it's never been heard. I just have not heard it spoken about. I have spoken to someone about it and said, yes, when I mentioned the title to a particular friend of mine, they said, yes, we do need a spiritual Juneteenth. So I'll be coming from, I call it Juneteenth 2.0. We need a spiritual Juneteenth. As I mentioned, it's not about condemnation. Get your emotion out of the way. It's not what you think, feel, want, and believe. Just listen, see where it applies to you or applies to other people. But it be truth based on facts and information. It may be, it's sad that, not sad, but when people see things with their own eyes, and if their friends are involved or family members involved or whatever, they say, I see nothing, I know nothing. But if something happened to them, they'll want someone to say something to the police or whomever because they want vindication or justice. We can't pick and choose what we're going to believe and not going to believe. Historical facts are facts. History is history. I was not born in the ages of Juneteenth. I did not experience it. I can read the history books, talk to people that may have lived through it or have personal experiences from family members, and all that's well and good. But to use any date or holidays for personal satisfaction, to better oneself, to say one is lesser than others or whatever way we use it, is bad. It's like, for example, we have Black Friday. I did a message saying Black Friday. I'm offended by the term Black Friday because I'm black and they're using Black Friday and people go like myself, stand in line in the middle of the night waiting for a particular item to be the first through the door. I could say I'm offended by Black Friday. And people say, that's stupid. Why are you offended by Black Friday? There's no such thing. Now flip the script. What if it was a White Friday and had the same scenario? Blacks and maybe other races would take offense to that day and say it's not right to have a White Friday because it's discriminating against blacks or oppressing other races. We can't pick and choose. We must begin to apply common sense. So this will be part one, giving facts and information. You can comment, ask questions. You can email me at todanow7@gmail.com, todanow7@gmail.com. So let me begin. I have my notes with part one. It's interesting when I put this note together and I printed the note, and when I made a public announcement on Facebook, the internet got lost. It's like a power surge. And you know you have a modem, it had the green light flashing. Mine went off, and I said, oh, I didn't have internet because my computer was saying no connectivity. I said, wow, I may have to use my phone. But then I turned my cellular off on my phone and let it ride off of the house internet, and I had internet. But the light is white and not green. I said, okay. So I look at it as a blessing for me to broadcast this. I was going to use my phone. So let me go over my notes and share what I put together. This message was not planned before or on the day of Juneteenth. The day of Juneteenth is a thought in my mind about the day from its birth, June 2.0. We need a spiritual Juneteenth. Juneteenth has come to a close. But what comes next? Juneteenth, officially Juneteenth National Independence Day, is a federal holiday observed annually on June 19th to commemorate the end of slavery in the United States. This year, we witnessed celebration across the nation, parades, public events, family gatherings, and streets filled with people wearing Juneteenth t-shirts, carrying colored flags, filled with pride and excitement. But as a banner are folded and the music fades, we must ask ourselves, will there be a lasting change in the lives of black people across the towns, cities, rural communities, and states? The struggle was not just physical, it was deeply spiritual. And so we must not only remember history, we must transform through it. The message you're about to hear is true. No names have been changed to protect the innocent. Why not? Because we are not innocent when we sin. I did this on computer and using AI to do my grammar check and spelling. Then I got this. They gave us a day, but what about the days we cry in silence? What about the chains wrapped around our souls? They gave us Juneteenth, but now we need something deeper, spiritually deeper. June 2.0. I'm going to see something. Part of this. Got the book in front of me. Where is it? Sorry about that. But now we need something deeper. Spiritually, Juneteenth 2.0. Not just freedom from slavery, but freedom from everything. We have learned to hide about ourselves. We have learned to hide things about ourselves and others. For the purpose of this message, I'm using my real name. I'm not changing it to protect me because I'm not innocent. No aliases. My name is Anthony Milton. I'm sharing this insight with those who are willing to hear of my spiritual perspective, perception. Or we need a spiritual Juneteenth 2.0. I invite you to continue listening. Please set aside your emotionalism and any assumption about what you think I'm going to say. Some of you may not agree with the contents in this message, and that's okay. We have choices. Once I shared the truth about the black race, I was labeled as an Uncle Tom, accused of acting white or behaving white or communicating in a white manner because I don't use Ebonics, black Ebonics, and said to be disrespecting our own people. Why? Because I was revealing uncomfortable truth about myself and others. I too have heard hard truth about myself. And there were times I rejected it and didn't want to accept it and considered it a lie. Since when the words became black and white? It's the speaker who speaks in the words. I can control you with emotionalism. But emotion, pain, emotional pain does not give us permission to deny the truth and replace it with emotionalism, seduction, or deception. Before diving into my concept of we need a spiritual Juneteenth 2.0, let me begin with the foundational message, foundational building blocks, I call them. The foundational emotional, I'm sorry, let me repeat myself. Let me begin with some foundational information building blocks that is going to support my perspective. These are some excerpts about the emancipation of 1862. On September 22nd, wow, one day before I was born, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln issued a preliminary emancipation proclamation which declared that as of January the 1st, 1863, all enslaved people in the United States currently engaged in rebellion against the Union shall be then, henceforth, and forever free. Lincoln did not actually free all of the 4 million, approximately 4 million men and women and children held in slavery in the United States. When he did sign the formal Emancipation Proclamation the following January, finally the Emancipation Proclamation paved the way for permanent abolition, of slavery in the United States. As Lincoln and his allies in Congress realized emancipation would have no constitutional bias after the war ended, they soon began working to enact a constitutional amendment abolishing slavery. In 1865, it was 1862 when Lincoln introduced the primary version of the Emancipation Proclamation. Some people did not know that, from my research, did not know it was even written until 2 years later, where it was known to the people. On September 20, I'm sorry, I read that. But in the end of January 1865, both houses of Congress passed the 13th Amendment that was ratified that December. I've heard in my lifetime, I don't talk about religion and politics. I don't want to know anything about politics. Why not? When we are driven by our emotions, when we believe things from our emotion, what I think, what I feel, what I want, what I believe, what's in it for me, how it benefits me, over unknown law that has been passed before you and our ancestors have been born, and then when it's implemented, unknown to you, you think the person is doing something, maybe doing something wrong, and they may be doing something right. But when the action of any government official is supported by the constitutional law of the land, it goes beyond a white and black thing. I'm amazed at the stuff that I have read about the Constitution in the United States of America, that these people appear that they had a window into the future, because a lot of the law that they've written back then can actually be applied to what's going on right now. I saw something today where this black female was saying, I did not know this, that Washington, D.C. is not a part of the state. Washington, D.C., you say it's a state, but it's not. She said, I did not know that. And she just kept saying, I did not know that. She says it's the District of Columbia or something like that. You can Google it and do your homework and see, you actually see that. So different laws govern that particular area. By not knowing what you hear me saying or what other people are saying, and think that they are saying things just because they want to hear themselves talk, and sometimes they do, but it can be truth to what people are saying. So what is the 13th Amendment to the Constitution? It ratifies in 1865 that after the aftermath of Civil War, abolished slavery in the United States, the 13th Amendment states that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the parties shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. What does emancipate mean? To free from restraint, control, influence, or power of another, especially from bondage. It can also mean to terminate parental control over a parent, over a child. Some people's kids will say, well, I want to emancipate myself from my parents because they're not treating me right, I don't like them, or for whatever reason. So emancipate oneself from their parents is another form of emancipation. They may not like, they say the parent might be too hard on them, not doing what is required, or they just don't like being told what to do and not do. So some individuals have went to the court to separate their guardianship from their parents. They don't want their parents to rule over them, or be over them. What I have shared with you is known only by a few. Ask the average person on the street about the 13th Amendment or the meaning of emancipation, and they might not know the answer. Why not? Because some of these things are not taught in schools, not taught in the university, or their parents may have not taught them, or whomever they are living with may never discuss politics or the Constitution. Why does the president does what he does, Congress, judicial branch, every body of the government have laws. Just do your own homework, as one would say, to go to YouTube University. Juneteenth have been celebrated across cities, states, homes, and in parades. That is perfectly acceptable. An honor way to remember such history-making event. Likewise, Black History Month continues to be recognized and celebrated. Who remember Black History Month? And I may add, you may find this shocking. In my experience, a lot of blacks do not celebrate Black History Month. Oh, how can you say that? A lot of blacks do not celebrate Juneteenth. How can you say that? To say that every black person is celebrating black holidays is deceiving oneself to believe that, because we all are not together. To say that we are together because we color of our skin, no, 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 no. You let a light-skinned female and a darker black female or male is arguing, they're going to call that person out of their name by color. You red bone or you light skinned, you're not one of us because of the skin color. To believe, one person told me one time that black people cannot be racist because we have no power to do anything to anybody. That is a lie. Why I say that? Because if you think about it, do people hate you and the color of your skin? Have you met another black person that don't like you because of your job? You have a doctorate degree. You're told to go to college, get the best of life, and then you achieve those goals, and then you are frowned upon. You have your own business, or you have your own dreams and stuff, and your own family members and friends and relatives don't like you because, oh, you think you're better than me because you got a job. You think you're better than me because you got a car, or you got a man, or you got a husband, or you got certain things. Those things are discriminatory. To say that we cannot discriminate, yes, we all discriminate against ourselves. When you go in your closet and you look at the clothing to put on, discrimination means to choose something over another or a person. So when you look at two dresses or two pair of pants, you discriminate at that very moment. So I'm going to wear that. So we discriminate all the time in our daily walk. We discriminate. Well, I'm not going to this restaurant. I'm going to that restaurant. Or I'm not going because they got bad service. So words, just because when we say discrimination and prejudice, it doesn't pertain permanently. It does not. It's not one word that has one meaning and no other definition for it. So we all are various races as well. So when I was saying what I was saying, revealing stuff, which we should have more of, you call her Uncle Tom, or you not one of us because you're making us look bad. If no one in my race decide to speak up and say the truth, then we all be living lives and doing things like myself in my early years. Did I believe everything I heard? No. Did I did things based on my emotion, what I think, what I feel, what I want, how it benefits me? Of course I did. But I grew it up and grew up mentally until one day I discovered something when I pick up the Bible. I said the Bible to me was very a lot of contradiction in it. And as I was putting my notes together, I remember someone say, well, I'm not going to believe the white man Bible. Is that a form of discrimination? Is that a form of being prejudiced because it's a white man Bible? The air that you breathe is it white, is it black, is it green, is it blue? You do not see a spirit. We cannot attach a color to a spirit. The person who's speaking the words from their mouths may be of various races, but the words are spiritual that you and I speak, and it can hurt one another. Spiritual. We need a spiritual Juneteenth 2.0. Why did I say that? Because every year there's a there's a Juneteenth. People celebrate in various forms, and that's fine. It's more sometimes it be like a competition thing, or better than last year, and it goes on and on and on. But where is the change? Where is the sudden change? Where is the spin-off of that change? Where is the spin-off of, hey, free? I remember Black History Month. From my standpoint, I did not hear a lot of educational messages coming from people to educate the average person, that young blacks that don't know a lot of things, which I will get into in a few minutes, that when we deny ourselves the truth, we can become our own self-imposed enslavement. We have enslaved ourselves to our thoughts, our belief, what I think, feel, want, and believe. We have enslaved ourselves, not the white man or the Chinese man or brown or pink or blue man. You can self-impose slavery upon yourself by the thoughts that you believe. When you think, feel, want, and believe, and how it benefits you and how it should be done, you have enslaved yourself to those things. And when sometimes you will have to experience something to wake you up, to unshackle your mind from the thoughts of words that have enslaved you to the the mental whipping post. And what I was looking for earlier in my book, I did not realize it. You need to deliver Escape from the Plantation. What did I mean by that in this book? You can go to Amazon.com and you can look up the book and read certain chapters, and I give you a synopsis. Is if I want you to be following me, I'm gonna give you lies and mistruth and disinformation and misinformation to get you to believe me. I'm gonna play on your emotions, what it boils down to, and then you come to my plantation of ideas and belief, and you relish and enjoy the fruits of your labor and my labor, and you think happy, everything is okay. Then someone comes up and begin to speak the truth about your lifestyle, yourself, your choices that have enslaved you, because they have enslaved you spiritually speaking, and you blaming everybody else around you and not yourself, and then you have enslaved yourself, and then you say, wait a minute, oh wow, I did not even know that. And you begin to wake up mentally and spiritually, and you set yourself free off of that person's ideas and beliefs that have enslaved you. Then and you escape and start thinking on your own. So how do that person get you back to their plantation of ideas and beliefs? They whip you with lies and mistruths to cause you to say, oh, okay, master, I'm sorry, I should have stayed. Okay, I did not believe that. I thought it was the truth. And you run back to the master of beliefs. You may not run back to a man or a woman, but you run back, thank you, Lord, you may run back to the thoughts that you're thinking that you have chosen to enslave you. It's like everywhere I go, I can't get a job. Or you just like your mom, you're just like your dad, or you never amount to nothing. Everybody in the family had a baby out of wedlock, or whatever you can think of. Those terms can enslave you. That's what I mean when I say the spiritual. We need a spiritual Juneteenth 2.0. Yes, every year you're going to have the physical, and people are going to do whatever, and you're going to add on and add on. But we need a continuation, Day the 20th, and the 21st, and the 20th, a month and days. There's going to be lots of minutes and hours and days and weeks passing until the next Juneteenth. So we need a spiritual Juneteenth where a change takes place in our mind, in our mindset. in our mindset. So Black History Month was also known as Negro History Week in the United States in 1926. Historian Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. This is the time to shed light on and celebrate the contribution blacks have made to America. Is Black history taught in the public school system and university to cause a major impact in the minds of blacks? Answer that yourself. From my experience, the schools and universities, some students are unaware of black history. You hear, I want to be a basketball player. Some people, I want to be a mayor. I want to be the president. But the majority, I want to be a rapper. I want to be a singer. I want to be a movie star. And I want to be like somebody else because they don't know certain things have been done. And I pick out a few things. I'll give you homework. And I thought about that. We need a spiritual Juneteenth 2.0. 2.0 to learn, to study, to educate ourselves, to not to look in the mirror and say, your color is holding you back. Your color is holding you back. No, we hold ourselves back. I hold myself back with the thought that I think. I'm not coming from a position where none of this touch me. Today, even when I go in stores, used to be a lot of stores, I get followed around and didn't do nothing. People assume that all blacks behave in the manner they see on TV. You know, people feel that being a black male or black female, I see black female will tell it like it is. I see a lot of black females on social media telling it like it is about how sisters behave when it comes to relationship. But it can be sad when we as a race of people get upset and mad when one of us are speaking the truth, not to hurt, not to cause pain, but to cause a new mindset to want you to begin to look at yourself and say, I can do better. I don't have to be enslaved. I don't have to enslave myself based on my upbringing or where I come from, or I don't have to believe the lie that I'm not a racist. I don't have to believe the lie that I don't discriminate, because we can be racist on one other. Oh, I'm not going that black business because if I give them my money, they're going to get rich and I want to keep my money for myself. That is a form of discrimination. That is a form of racism. Racism to discriminate against somebody else. Racism does not only apply to we are excluded from doing it ourselves. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. Juneteenth 2.0. A spiritual awakening must occur. In any given city, we have blacks on blacks shooting, injuring, unaliving people with the drop of a hat. Oh, you took my boy out, I'm going to find you and retaliate against you. I'm representing and I'm going to do this. I worked in a maximum security prison in aligning a lot of young black males in there for a very long time, because they say what their friend they're representing. What are you representing? You're giving up 20, 30 years of your life to be behind bars, never to experience the outside, thinking that, you know, your homie that's still out there may be unalive themselves or someone unalive them, and you think nothing of it because you represent it. I have never seen a dead person other than Jesus that we've been told come back and can give us eternal life too on this earth. We must begin to wake up from our self-imposed mental enslavement and have our own freedom. Juneteenth 2.0, a spiritual awakening. Because it's very sad to me when I see my young black young males and females killing, unaliving, harming other people for what? They look at me the wrong way. They representing the clothes or how they dress or some reason that they feel that they must represent because they don't want to walk away and be called or whatever. In my day and time when I was in a fight, we got in the fight, we shook hands, not really. We walk among each other and, hey, you beat me up and okay, we friends. Now, in the time that we live in, Even if you win the fight, people will come after you. I worked in the school system. This young teenagers say, if I lose the fight, I'm going to bring back my girls. And if I lose again, I'm going to keep bringing back my girls until I win. I said, you evil. There are some people out there just like that. They don't want to lose. Even if they lose and get teased or taunted, they go right back out. They go right back out and hurt someone. They go right out there and hurt someone for the sake of representing themselves. So it's sad. It saddens me when I see our young black males and females have enslaved themselves. We have experienced Juneteenth where slaves were set free and can have the right to vote and have all the rights other races have. Yes, we know racism still exists. I'm not saying it does not exist. It exists in all races of people. To say that whites are the only one that's racist, some of them, or say a Chinese is not racist, or Mexican or Indian, or there are all forms of racism throughout the world. But when we lock in on one race of Pacific people and deny the other, we have enslaved ourselves. So yes, it's good to celebrate Juneteenth for whatever reason. Like I mentioned, it's not celebrated pertaining to a lot of black individuals. Is that sad? No, they choose not to for whatever reason. Is I'm gonna get in and blame them and say you should have celebrated whatever, or get mad at them because they don't celebrate? No. What we really need to focus on is our spiritual Juneteenth 2.0, where continual self-changing will take place, where we have decided that I'm not going to shackle myself to lies. I'm not going to be my own slave. You your own slave master. You are a slave and you're a slave master. You enslave yourself to the thoughts that's not godly. You enslave yourself to ungodly behaviors, and then you become your own master, and you whip yourself with more the words that you use to say, I'm not this, I'm not that. You're whipping yourself, spiritually speaking, in your mind to decide that they are better than you or you don't come to nothing. This new thing that I don't like, I see the new N-word, which I did messages about. What is the new N-word? Oh, those people, or them people, or, those kind of people. It's like, what do you mean? You still saying, you see a lot of social videos where they're using that phrase. They call it the carrying character, and it's another hidden way of showing some form of racism to me. Those people, they're stupid or they're ignorant or they don't know how to do whatever. Just watch one. Don't believe me. Just listen to when you see a carrying character. Look at them and say, well, I didn't know. You people, and then when a person's called out on the carpet, they say, oh, well, you calling me a racist. You just deflecting, whatever. So I do not like seeing those type of videos out there. They're on a lot of mainstream social media, YouTube channel. So that is, I call it the new N-word. It's a very subtle N-word. Oh, you started saying the N-word, as one may say. I say Negro because that's in the history books. But when they use a word that can be defamatory to some, take offense to that. But instead of saying that, instead of saying you N-word, they use, oh, those people. And then we have it in the rap music and music where the word is actually used and people go out there and buy it and say, I'm offended when another race use that word, but yet they are not offended because blacks use the word. I heard that, hey, we own the word, or really, when did I bought some stock in the word? I'm not being funny, but those are the things I've heard in my lifetime. And I know, like I mentioned at start off, from my experience talking to people, they don't like when blacks, not only myself or black female or me saying certain things. You can't have one way and have it another way. Who made you judge and jury? Who made us judge and jury to decide that it is good for the black race to say the N-word, and yet it's not good for another race to say the N-word? But if they're your friends of another race, it's acceptable. So we pick and choose. Self-imposed slavery. Enslaving ourselves on our mental plantation, giving us our own time served, feeding ourselves scraps of knowledge, scraps of words, scraps of soup and biscuit and water and whatever lifestyle you live in. You have enslaved yourself, not someone else. These are some of the things that I mentioned that the average person don't know. A black person discovered, invented the potato chips. He worked in a restaurant resort in New York. A customer sent a dish of French fries back to him, claiming it wasn't good. An irate Fitcom cut the potato as thin as possible and fried them to they turned burnt crisp, and that's how they became the chip was born. The mailbox, the protective mailbox. Mr. Downing created a mailbox designed to feature outer door at the inner safety door to avoid parcel being stolen. You know, some houses do have the mailbox that you can stick things through the door. The blood bank, people go to the blood bank to sell blood plasma or whatever. Charles Drew became interested in researching preservation of the blood when he was studying in Columbia University. He discovered separating red blood cells from plasma and then storing the two components separately. This new process allowed blood to be stored more than a week, which was maximum at that time, which led to the first blood bank. Home security system. An African-American nurse, Mary Van Britton Brown, devised an early security unit for her home. She and her husband took out a patent for the system in the same year and were awarded 3 other patents for a home security system that's used today in various elements from her design. The 3-way traffic light. Those of us who drive cars or sit in cars at the traffic light, did you know that a black person invented that? Morgan was the first black person in Cleveland, Ohio to own a car after he witnessed a severe car accident at an intersection in the city. He expanded on the current traffic lighting by adding a yield component warning oncoming driver of an impending stop. A refrigerated truck by Frederick Jones created a roof-mounted cooling system that is used to refrigerate goods truck extended transportation in 1930. He got a patent. Co-founded CS Thermal Company known as Thermo King. I know we have that today. The automatic elevator door. Alexander Miles took out a patent in 1887 for a mechanism that a mechanic device to automatically open the doors and close elevator shaft doors. His design are largely reflecting the elevators today. A clothes dryer. Someone invented a clothes dryer in 1892. The dustpan. We can sweep things from under the rugs. So what am I sharing with you? History, knowledge, and information that these black individuals and many more that I have not discussed in their lifetime in 1862, they had before 1862 and before Emancipation and Proclamation came up with all kinds of ideas that's being used all over the world today. 2.0, Juneteenth 2.0. 2.0 is just simply moving away from the physical celebration as I described and say, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do? Everyone has a 2.0 Juneteenth, a new spiritual awakening within them. I recommend researching and reading about the many black inventors whose creations are used around the world today. Everything is worthy of celebration. It should be taught, learned, called a new mindset, and shared. I have built the foundation for my spiritual perspective of understanding from historical and current events grounded in truth. We need to gain knowledge not only about black history, but also about the other histories around the countries, about their culture, to learn, to compare. The lack of knowledge enslaved the very people. The lack of knowledge, we have the Juneteenth, the celebration and what it means. The lack of knowledge of that day enslaved the very people who that Emancipation Proclamation was signed and brought into existence. I invite you to take this journey with me to hear the truth that for some may be difficult to accept. Some people may write comments insulting, reject, accuse me of dishonoring historical events and people connected to them. What I'm sharing is rarely discussed during Juneteenth celebration. Too often people are swept up in their festivities. It becomes about them and less about the real transformative change. When the celebration ends, will we see a continued process? Will we build will we build upon that I'm sorry, will we build upon what history have already revealed to us? Or wait, will we will we wait until next holiday to repeat itself year event, adding attraction, comparing who had the best celebration last year opposed to this, making it more about self and about than the spiritual mindset of the individual. Part 1, I will continue. Part 2, 8:20 tomorrow. So it's my hope and prayer that what you heard, you listen to it. Yes, nothing wrong with celebrating those who decide to do Juneteenth. That's their choice. Like I mentioned, to put every black in a boat and say we think alike and believe the same thing is wrong. Only when you can have a group of blacks together and people assume that they believe the same thing that they believe. And when the person, he or she, open their mouth, oh, you believe that? All this long time I've been with you? Or you don't talk like us, you don't behave like us, or you talk like a white person, you talk like this Chinese person, you talk like whatever. Because they assume that you agree with them. You don't have to agree with people. You don't have to agree with what people are doing and saying. Begin to wake up. So it's my hope and prayer that this message has been a blessing to you. Share it, like it, and subscribe. I'll be uploading to my YouTube channel. But allow others to hear what you've heard. Like I said, if we don't hear it from if you don't hear, I'm sorry, if I did not give this message, you may not even be aware of the things that I'm saying. You may have an idea, you may have thought it yourself, but say I'm not going to say that because you don't want people to look frowned upon when you say things like that. It is not a black and white thing when we speak the truth. Do I believe it? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have to experience the lies and to discover the truth. So I close by saying this. You and only you can enslave yourself. Yes, Juneteenth was enacted to free blacks from slavery. You as a black person, male or female, can self-impose slavery upon yourself by self-talk, self-belief, self-ideas, what I think, what I feel, what I want, what I believe, how it benefits me, and what I can get out of it. We have become and can be our own slave owner to that thought, our own slave master to that thought, and we whip ourselves with lies over the truth. Must stop. You are experiencing in some form or another. You may deny it and say it does not exist. Will that leave you exempt? No. We, as a race of people, at any given time, can enslave ourselves, whip ourselves with words, and allow other people to whip us with the words. Whip us. Not only different races of people, our own very races of people can whip us with lies. When you are thinking for yourself, you have escaped from their spiritual, worldly plantation to do what you want to do because you want to wake up. Thank you for taking time out to listen to this.